stay, but I can't.
You can.
I can't.
Have you ever fallen in love with someone or something that actively hates you? Like an angry cat that you just want to pet and feed, but it scratches your arm off if you so much as think about invading its personal space? Welcome then to Quackley, a ZX Spectrum-inspired indie platformer released for PC on my birthday, no less. And as much as I love it, it wants to bite my hand off. And that's great. That's great because precision platformers so often aren't. They're annoying or infuriating or determined to kill you off for a laugh and make you play through things all over again because they're just not designed to be fun. They're designed to be difficult. Thankfully, Quackley falls into the same category as games like Love and its sequel, and even the initial flag bearer of the recent uprising, Super Meat Boy. Quackley isn't as meaty as that game, pardon the pun, but it does come very close to nailing everything I loved about it. Firstly though, this is a channel that mostly centres around ZX Spectrum games, or do I? I don't even know. I think I do. Mostly. I do that mostly. So I'm in a fairly good position to say that the aesthetics of Quackley were absolutely the main thing that brought me to it. That undeniable colour palette, that simple but clear artwork, the stench of death every 3 seconds. It's all very, very Spectrum-y, but updated to remove the charred edges of the 1980s. There's no colour clash here, but you can feel it lurking in the background. What is here are a number of charming options, including an option to set things to monochrome, which you'd only pick if you're a heathen and this nice 1980s or current year TV filter. There's an option to make the music loud or turn it off, but no option for the sound effects, which is a bit weird. But we're already at more options than a ZX Spectrum game would have, so I'm going to let him off with this one. The thing I love about this, and the reason I bought it within 24 hours of coming across it, it's not because I'm a ZX Spectrum obsessive or require all my games to look like they've been mangled through some sort of primary colour grinder. It's that nostalgia for the old rubber-keyed BritBox is so rarely seen within modern gaming. There's Horace, of course, which was excellent too, but most indie developers who release for systems outside the retro computers and consoles themselves tend to opt for the NES. And that's fine. I like the NES. I don't mind that coat of paint, but it all gets a bit samey. It all gets a bit, okay, we've done that now, pick something else. So yes, I'll not lie and say I bought Quackley because I thought it looked great. I didn't. I thought it looked fine enough, but the visuals were what caught me. And the budget ZX Spectrum price tag certainly helped with that as well. But goodness me, I didn't expect to enjoy it quite as much as I did. So much so that I didn't put it down until I'd snapped that duck's neck and eaten its wings with plum sauce. Precision platformer then, and yes, it's precise. It's damn precise. It's also fast. It's damn fast. Damn precise and damn fast. Two things that you will have to be if you want to get anywhere. Because this duck is on a mission to get to a job interview over and over again. Because it's 1984 and he has to battle against the rough economy. Look, if it sounds like it doesn't make sense, it's inspired by ZX Spectrum games. What did you expect? Each of the 48 levels on offer have to be completed in 13 seconds or less, and that might sound as tight as a duck's bumhole, but it is, and it's perfect for it. These levels are hard, but not hard in a way where you'll get to certain sections and dread them because you have no time for any of that. You smash your face against a wall for 1 to 3 minutes, and then you eventually nail it in a fluid motion that makes you feel like, I don't know, who's good at games these days? Ninja? It makes you feel like Ninja? I don't know who that is. 24 million subscribers. Fuck. Now, you may well be saying to yourself, this doesn't look like the game for me. This looks too hard. And I would like to hazard a bet that if you're watching anything on this channel, it's because I do reviews of retro games. Have you gone soft, old man? This isn't hard. Target Renegade was hard. Green Beret was hard. This game is a piece of piss compared to anything you grew up with. But yes, it is very hard, but it's never unfair, and it's very rarely frustrating, and that all comes back down to this incredible design choice. 13 seconds. Levels are slim, imaginative, and open to a few cheeky shortcuts here and there.
I know your secret.
You can't trick me, you sly little developer, you. Oh, shit. Won't that get boring, I hear you ask? Just running through a level and dying a few times and starting over until you get it? Well, no, and that's mostly due to a consistent ramping of features, cut with a change of pace every set amount of levels. I don't even want to use too much footage from the game because I don't really want to spoil all the little surprises and neat touches that the game has to offer, but to give you an idea, each section you play through is generally built around a theme, from the basics of the starting areas to things like this pirate ship that features cannons that should be simple to time, but you'll still cock it up because you're rubbish. But it's fine, because you only have to not be rubbish for 13 seconds. Do you see where I'm coming from here? This is like the most accessible, difficult game I've played in a long, long time. And I love it, I really do, and I recommend it to everyone, even those of you who know for a fact you'll hate every second of this game. I don't care, buy it anyway, and force yourself to enjoy it, because I like it. But I do have some complaints, because I've always got complaints. Firstly, this one would have been a complaint, but it ended up not being a complaint in the end, because I discovered a solution, but I'm still going to complain about it. You only have a few buttons at your disposal, and you really should be playing this game with a pad unless you're a masochist. So I'm going to talk about this in pad terms. You move around with your joystick, you've got a jump button, and you've got a dash button. The dash button is quite a versatile little beast because you can dash on the floor, dash in the air, dash off walls, and you can do a downward dash. That's a lot of dashes, right? A lot to get your head around when you're flying through a level in less than 13 seconds for sure. My big problem initially was the downward dash. I could never consistently get it right because the game specifically tells you to press down and the dash button to get it to work. But if you're attached to a wall, you won't do that, you'll dash off the wall instead. Or maybe you didn't press down in time and do an air dash. Well, after a bit of experimentation, I found that the game actually assigns downward dash to another button on the pad. It's just that the game never specifically tells you that. Once I had that in my headspace, the game became a lot less frustrating, so take that as a forewarning because it's incredibly useful to know. That does lead me back round to a strange lack of options, though. The sound effects didn't bother me that much, neither did this one, honestly, but I know it'll bother some people. There's no option to change the controls around. I found them perfectly placed, but I know some people have their hands sewn on backwards or something, so they'll probably whinge about it. Lastly, stickiness and slipperiness. Quackley is a slippery little shit of a duck, and he will absolutely fire himself all over the place like a lunatic if you don't have a deft control on that movement. The problem for me is that touching a wall will automatically make Quackley stick to it, meaning your dash has changed into a wall dash. I'm not sure whether it would change the ebb and flow of the game or not, and it may cause issues with keyboard players who really are just making life difficult for themselves anyway, but being able to hold down a trigger on the pad to switch on cling to a wall mode would probably have alleviated a lot of swearing on my part. A lot. A hell of a lot. Too much swearing. Speaking of swearing, difficulty spikes. There's a few of them in the game, and they genuinely didn't bother me a great deal because it was nice to have this ebb and flow of challenge. But it's worth pointing out that you may reach a section and think, Jesus, if this is only halfway through the game, what's the rest going to be like? And you'll be pleased to know, probably not like that. And that's a good feeling. It's sometimes nice to come across these monstrosities that throw a skill ceiling in front of you and say, right, if you think you're so hard, eat some of that, dickhead. And if you're anything like me, you'll take the game's spite and throw it right back into its stupid, bill-mouthed face. But it may take a while, and actually your mileage may vary there. It took me just under 2 hours to complete Title Duck Game because I'm apparently just as good at gaming as whoever Ninja is, but it may take you a lot longer because you're only as good as, I don't know, Jacksepticeye or something. That kind of defeats the purpose of Quackley, however, because it's not necessarily just how good you are, it's about shaving that time off, it's about getting better at levels, it's about besting yourself and persevering and absolutely fueled by your own rage, because deep down, as hard as this game is, you know it's doable. You know that each of these levels can be completed in something like 6 to 10 seconds, and if you're not capable of sustaining a decent performance for 6 to 10 seconds, then something bad at sex. Anyway, that's the review bit done. That was a very funny joke to end on, wasn't it? I laughed. I will say, though, to anyone watching this, buy the game, support the dev, he's doing God's work. I've genuinely not enjoyed a game like this in a good long while. Just a brief rundown on what's going on with the publishing and dev side here, though. The game is developed by JXT, and I'll leave a link to his Twitter in the comments below. Show him some love. The publisher is listed as Black Country Games, however, and after a lot of journalistic investigation that involved clicking on this link on Steam and seeing what other games had done, I noticed that the only other game listed was the as yet unreleased Reiterate by Zane Black. Now, I follow Zane Black on Twitter, and he follows me, and I didn't realise that he had a YouTube channel until I drunkenly stumbled across it one day, and I absolutely loved it. He runs Let's Talk Game Design, and he's got more subscribers than me, and his videos get a lot more views, which would normally send me into a fit of jealous rage, and I'd have to sit in a corner, rocking backwards and forwards for a few hours to calm myself down. But genuinely, this guy is great. If you've any interest in indie games or game design, look him up and suckle on his YouTube teats. Not literally, of course, not that I'm sure you could do that literally, or even metaphorically. Anyway, just do that. I'll leave a link in the description. This is all to say, eventually getting to the point, that he has set up Black Country Games as a sort of ad hoc publishing house, with a plan for organic growth that comes simply from the games he wants to put his efforts behind. A commendable task, I'm sure you'll agree, and I just want to get the word out there, basically. I know this isn't as funny an ending as the hilarious sex joke I made earlier, but I've literally got nothing funny I can add on this. Bums.